our Bible reading Sunday. Technically, it would have been next week, but it is today because we are doing, VBS next week. Yeah, so we're going to do our Bible study today. We're going to continue our Bible study. We believe here at the church that there's power in Scripture alone, and that it doesn't always need a sermon or human thoughts along with it to impact our lives, right? I know many of you read the Bible on a daily basis, and I know that it does change your lives. And so we believe there is just something special when we just read it, but not just read it, but listen to it as well, right? And the Bible was written in mostly letters over the years, or over the time, and it's to be read to groups and to understand the group in context. And so today we're going to read a little bit about that, sit through it, and I just ask you to open your ears and listen as we read through it and see what God tells you through it. And Pastor Puce used to tell me all the time, he would say, when I listen, I get a little nugget, and by the time I leave, I've got a nugget that I'm taking with me for this week. And I just hope that you guys get that today as we read through it. So I want you guys just to follow along and listen as we do too as well. So today we're going to read from a book from the Bible, and if you'd like to follow along with your Bibles, awesome. If you don't have one, great. We have some in the back, and we can hand those out. Just raise your hands. And if you don't have a Bible at home, feel free to take this Bible with you. Or if you do, and you can just leave it on the seat, and we'll collect it a little bit later. And today we're going to be reading from the book of Joshua, which is found in the Old Testament. The Old Testament is the first half of the Bible, referring to God's Old Covenant, or referring to the Old Covenant of God before his son Jesus came to the earth, lived and died and rose again, creating a new covenant of grace that we get to participate in today. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is not good for us to learn from the Old Testament, or that the laws understood in the context of the time they were written are not beneficial for our lives. Actually, they are, but quite the opposite. We can learn much from God and how he created us to live by reading and understanding the Old Testament. I used to tell people all the time I read the Old Testament and thought I was doomed. But today we're going to read from Joshua. We're going to finish the chapters today from 13 to 24. We did the first half last month, and my readers want to come forward. I'm going to just give you guys a little background of what that is. It always helps to do that as well. And can I say, when I read the Bible, sometimes I read it out loud. My wife thinks I'm talking to myself, but it's probably true. But I read out loud because then I hear his words sometimes and my mind doesn't get distracted, so I just read it out loud. And as well, so when you read it today, hopefully you'll hear some things as well. So today we're going to talk about the book of Joshua. It records Israel's entrance into the initial conquest and its entrance into the Promised Land following the death of Moses. The events likely took place in 1406 to 1399 BC. That's just according to an early date for Exodus. And although some scholars propose that it might have happened around 1250 to 1220 BC. And the book itself was written in the late 15th or 14th century BC, with Joshua traditionally recognized as the prime author, while the account of his death at the end was likely added later by another writer like possibly Phineas or Elzar. The second half of Joshua shifts from conquering the Promised Land to possessing and faithfully living in it. These chapters are going to describe the division of the land among the Israel tribes, the establishment of the cities of refuge and the Levitical cities, the resolution of potential conflicts between the eastern and western tribes, and Joshua's final challenge for Israel to remain faithful to the Lord. Rather than focusing on the military victories, this section emphasizes God's faithfulness in fulfilling his promises and calls his people to respond with wholeheartedly obedience. Joshua concludes by renewing the covenant of Shechem and challenging the nations with his famous declaration, "As for me and my family, we will serve the Lord," reminding Israel that receiving God's promises is only the beginning. The greater challenge is remaining faithful to him for generations to come. Yay.
Chapter 13. When Joshua was an old man, the Lord said to him, "You are growing old, and much land remains to be conquered. This is the territory that remains, all the region of the Philistines and the Geshurites, and the larger territory of the Canaanites, ascending from the stream of Shior on the border of Egypt, northward to the boundary of Ekron. It includes the territory of the 5 Philistine rulers of Gaza: Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron. The land of the Avites in the south also remains to be conquered. In the north, the following areas has not yet been conquered: all the land of the Canaanites, including Meroe, which belongs to the Sidonians, stretching northward to the Aphek on the border of the Amorites; the land of the Gebalites and all of the Lebanon mountain area to the east, from Baalgad below Mount Hermon to Lebo Hamath, and all the hill country from Lebanon to Misrephoth-Maim, including all the land of the Sidonians. I myself will drive these people out of the land ahead of Israelites. So be sure to give this land to Israel as a special possession, just as I have commanded you. Include all this territory as Israel's possession when you divide the land among the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of Manasseh." Half the tribe of Manasseh and the tribes of Reuben and Gad had already received their grants of land on the east side of the Jordan, for Moses, the servant of the Lord, had previously assigned this land to them. Their territory extended from Aroer on the edge of the Arnon Gorge, including the town in the middle of the gorge, to the plain beyond Medeba, as far as Dibon. It also included all the towns of King Sihon of the Amorites, who had reigned in Heshbon, and extended as far as the borders of Ammon. It included Gilead, the territory of the kingdoms of Geshur and Maacah, all of Mount Hermon, all of Bashan as far as Selica, and all the territory of King Og of Bashan, who had reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei. King Og was the last of the Rephites, for Moses had attacked them and driven them out. But the Israelites failed to drive out the people of Geshur and Maacah, so they continued to live among the Israelites to this day. Moses did not assign any allotment of land to the tribe of Levi. Instead, as the Lord has promised them, their allotment came from the offerings burned on the altar to the Lord, the God of Israel. Moses had assigned the following area to the clans of the tribe of Reuben. Their territory extended from Aroer on the edge of the Arnon Gorge, including the town in the middle of the gorge, to the plain beyond Medeba. It included Heshbon and other towns on the plain: Dibon, Bamoth Baal, Beth Baal Maon, Jahaz, Kedemoth, Mephaath, Kiriathaim, Sibmah, Zereth Shahar on the hill above the valley, Beth Peor, the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth Jeshemoth. The land of Reuben also included all the towns of the plain and the entire kingdom of Sihon. Sihon was the Amorite king who had reigned in Heshbon and was killed by Moses along with the leaders of Midian, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, princes living in the region who were allied with Sihon. The Israelites had also killed Balaam, son of Beor, who used magic to tell the future. The Jordan River marked the western boundary for the tribe of Reuben. The towns and their surrounding villages in this area were given as a homeland to the clans of the tribe of Reuben. Moses had assigned the following area to the clans of the tribe of Gad. Their territory included Jazer, all the towns of Gilead, and half of the land of Ammon, as far as the town of Aroer just west of Rabbah. It extended from Heshbon to Ramath Mizpah and Betonim, and from Mahanaim to the territory of Lodabar. In the valley were Beth Haram, Beth Nimrah, Succoth, Zaphon, and the rest of the kingdom of King Sihon of Heshbon. The western boundary ran along the Jordan River, extended as far north as the tip of the Sea of Galilee, and then turned eastward. The towns and their surrounding villages in this area were given as a homeland to the clans of the tribe of Gad. Moses had assigned the following area to the clans of the half-tribe of Manasseh. Their territory extended from Mahanaim, including all of Bashan, all of the former kingdom of King Og, and the 60 towns of Jair and Bashan. It also included half of Gilead and King Og's royal cities of Ashtaroth and Edrei. All of this was given to the clans of the descendants of Machir, who is Manasseh's son. These are the allotments Moses had made while he was on the plains of Moab, across the Jordan River, east of Jericho, but Moses gave no allotment of land to the tribe of Levi, for the Lord, the God of Israel, had promised that he himself would be their allotment.
Yeah, Emmy. Okay. All right. Chapter 14. The remaining tribes of Israel received land in Canaan as allotted by Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the tribal leaders. These 9.5 tribes received their grants of land by means of sacred lots in accordance with the Lord's command through Moses. Moses had already given a grant of land to the 2.5 tribes on the east side of the Jordan River, but he had given the Levites no such allotment. The descendants of Joseph had become 2 separate tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim, and the Levites were given no land at all, only towns to live in with surrounding pasture lands for their livestock and all their possessions. So the land was distributed in strict accordance with the Lord's commands to Moses. A delegation from the tribe of Judah, led by Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, came to Joshua at Gilgal. Caleb said to Joshua, "Remember what the Lord said to Moses, the man of God, about you and me when we were at Kadesh Barnea? I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to explore the land of Canaan. I returned, Jesus, help me, Lord. I returned and gave an honest report, but my brothers who went with me frightened the people from entering the promised land. For my part, I wholeheartedly followed the Lord my God. So that day, Moses solemnly promised me, the land of Canaan on which you were just walking will be your grant of land and that of your descendants forever, because you wholeheartedly followed the Lord my God. Now, as you can see, the Lord has kept me alive and well as he promised for all these 45 years since Moses made this promise, even when Israel wandered in the wilderness. Today I am 85 years old. I am as strong now as I was when Moses sent me on that journey, and I can still travel and fight as well as I could then. So, give me the hill country that the Lord promised me. You'll remember that as scouts we found the descendants of Anak living there in great walled towns. But if the Lord is with me, I will drive them out of the land just as the Lord said." So Joshua blessed Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and gave Hebron to him as a portion of land. Hebron still belongs to the descendants of Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, because he wholeheartedly followed the Lord, the God of Israel. Previously, Hebron had been called Kiriath Arba. It had been named after Arba, a great hero of the descendants of Anak, and the land had rest from war.
Chapter 15. The allotment for the clans of the tribe of Judah reached southward to the border of Edom as far south as the wilderness of Zin. The southern boundary began at the south bay of the Dead Sea, ran south of Scorpion Pass into the wilderness of Zin, and then went south of Kadesh Barnea to Hezron. Then it went up to Adar, where it turned toward Karka. From there it passed to Asmon until it finally reached the brook of Egypt, which it followed to the Mediterranean Sea. This was their southern boundary. The eastern boundary extended along the Dead Sea to the mouth of the Jordan River. The northern boundary began at the bay where the Jordan River empties into the Dead Sea, went up there to Beth Hogla, and then proceeded north of Beth Araba to the stone of Bohan. Bohan was Reuben's son. From that point, it went through the valley of Achor to Debir, turning north toward Gilgal, which is across from the slopes of Adumim on the south side of the valley. From there, the boundary extended to the springs at En-Shemesh and on to En-Rogel. The boundary then passed through the valley of Ben-Hinnom along the southern slopes of the Jebusites, where the city of Jerusalem is located. Then it went west to the top of the mountain above the valley of Hinnom and on up to the northern end of the valley of Rephaim. From there, the boundary extended from the top of the mountain to the spring at the waters of Nephtoah, and from there to the towns of Mount Ephron. Then it turned toward Baalah, that is Kiriath Jearim. The boundary circled west of Baalah to Mount Seir, passed along to the town of Kesalon on the northern slope of Mount Jearim, and went down to Beth Shemesh and on to Timnah. The boundary then proceeded to the slope of the hill north of Ekron, where it turned toward Shikharon and Mount Baalah. It passed Jabneel and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. The western boundary was the shoreline of the Mediterranean Sea. These are the boundaries of the clans of the tribe of Judah. The Lord commanded Joshua to assign some of Judah's territory to Caleb, son of Jephunneh. So Caleb was given the town of Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, which had been named after Anak's ancestor. Caleb drove out the 3 groups of Anakites and the descendants of Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai, the sons of Anak. From there, he went to fight against the people living in the town of Debir, formerly called Kiriath Sepher. Caleb said, I will give my daughter Aksa in marriage to the one who attacks and captures Kiriath Sepher. Othniel, the son of Caleb's brother Kenaz, was the one who conquered it, so Aksa became Othniel's wife. When Aksa married Othniel, she urged him to ask her father for a field. As she got down off her donkey, Caleb asked her, What's the matter? She said, Give me another gift. You have already given me land in the Negev. Now please give me springs of water too. So Caleb gave her the upper and lower springs. This was the homeland allocated to the clans of the tribe of Judah. The towns of Judah situated along the borders of Edom in the extreme south were Kabzeel, Eder, Jagur, Kenat, Dimona, Ada, Kadesh, Hazor, Ithnan, Ziph, Telem, Baloth, Hazor, Hadatha, Kiriath, Hezron, that is Hazor, Amam, Shema, Moladah, Hazar-Gada, Heshmon, Beth Pelet, Hazar Shual, Beersheba, Biziothia, Baala, Aim, Ezem, El-Tolad, Kasil, Horma, Ziglag, Madmanah, Sassana, Lebaoth, Shilhim, Ain, and Rimmon, 29 towns with their surrounding villages. Say that 10 times fast. The following towns situated in the western foothills were also given to Judah: Eshtaol, Zorah, Ashna, Zanoah, Enganim, Tapua, Enam, Jarmuth, Adulam, Soka, Azekah, Sha'arim, Adathaim, Gedera, and Gederothaim, 14 towns with their surrounding villages. Also included were Zenon, Hadasha, Migdal Gad, Dilion, Mizpah, Joktheel, Lachish, Bothkath, Eglon, Kabon, Lamam, Kitlish, Gederoth, Beth Dagon, Naamah, and Makkedah, 16 towns with their surrounding villages. Besides these, there were Libnah, Ether, Ashan, Iftah, Ashna, Nezib, Keilah, Akzib, and Marshah, 9 towns with their surrounding villages. The territory of the tribe of Judah also included Ekron and its surrounding settlements and villages. From Ekron, the boundary extended west and included the towns near Ashdod with their surrounding villages. It also included Ashdod with its surrounding settlements and villages, and Gaza with its settlements and villages as far as the Brook of Egypt and along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. Judah also received the following towns in the hill country: Shamir, Jatir, Soka, Dana, Kiriath Sana, that is Debir, Anab, Eshtemoh, Anim, Goshen, Holon, and Gilo, 11 towns with their surrounding villages. Also included were the towns of Arab, Duma, Eshon, Janim, Beth Tapua, Aphekah, Humta, Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, and Zior, 9 towns with their surrounding villages. Besides these were Maon, Carmel, Ziph, Judah, Jezreel, Jokdim, Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 towns with their surrounding villages. In addition, there were Hahul, Bezur, Gedor, Marath, Beth Anath, and Eltekon, 6 towns with their surrounding villages. There were also Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, and Rabbah, 2 towns with their surrounding villages. In the wilderness, there were the towns of Beth Arabah, Midden, Sekaka, Nibshan, and the city of Salt, and Engedi, 6 towns with their surrounding villages. But the tribe of Judah could not drive out the Jebusites, who lived in the city of Jerusalem. So the Jebusites lived there among the people of Judah to this day. Chapter 16.
The allotment for the descendants of Joseph extended from the Jordan River near Jericho, east of the springs of Jericho, through the wilderness and into the hill country of Bethel. From Bethel, that is Luz, it ran over Alatroth in the territory of the Archites. Then it descended westward to the territory of the Japhletites, and as far as lower Beth-horon, then to Gezer and over to the Mediterranean Sea. This was the homeland allocated to the families of Joseph's sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. The following territory was given to the clans of the tribe of Ephraim. The boundary of their homeland began at Ataroth Adar in the east. From there it ran up to upper Beth-horon, then onto the Mediterranean Sea. From Mikdath on the north, the boundary curved eastward past Taanath, Shiloh to the east of Genoa. From Genoa, it turned southward to Ataroth and Nara, touched Jericho, and ended at the Jordan River. From Tapua, the boundary extended westward, following the Kanah ravine to the Mediterranean Sea. This is the homeland allocated to the clans of the tribe of Ephraim. In addition, some towns with their surrounding villages in the territory allocated to half the tribe of Manasseh were set aside for the tribe of Ephraim. They did not drive the Canaanites out of Gezer. However, so the people of Gezer live as slaves among the people of Ephraim to this day. Chapter 17. The next allotment of land was given to half the tribe of Manasseh, the descendants of Joseph's older brother. Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, was the father of Gilead because his descendants were experienced soldiers. The regions of Gilead and Bashan on the east side of the Jordan had already been given to them. So the allotment on the west side of the Jordan was for the remaining families within the clans of the tribe of Manasseh: Abiezer, Helek, Azriel, Shechem, Hepher, and Shemida. These clans represent the male descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph. However, Zelophehad, a descendant of Epher, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, had no sons. He had only daughters, whose names were Mahlah, Noah, Ogla, Milcah, and Tirsa. These women came to Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, the Israelite leaders, and said, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us a grant of land along with the men of our tribe." So Joseph gave them a grant of land along with their uncles, as the Lord had commanded. As a result, Manasseh's total allocation came to 10 parcels of land, in addition to the land of Gilead and Bashan across the Jordan River, because the female descendants of Manasseh received a grant of land along with the male descendants. Praise the Lord. The land of Gilead was given to the rest of the male descendants of Manasseh. The boundary of the tribe of Manasseh extended from the border of Asher to Michmethath near Shechem. Then the boundary went south from Michmethath to the settlement near the spring of Tapua. The land surrounding Tapua belonged to Manasseh, but the town of Tapua itself on the border of Manasseh's territory belonged to the tribe of Ephraim. From the spring of Tapua, the boundary of Manasseh followed the Kanah ravine to the Mediterranean Sea. Several towns south of the ravine were inside Manasseh's territory, but they actually belonged to the tribe of Ephraim. In general, however, the land south of the ravine belonged to Ephraim, and the land north of the ravine belonged to Manasseh. Manasseh's boundary ran along the northern side of the ravine and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. North of Manasseh was the territory of Asher, and to the east was the territory of Issachar. The following towns within the territory of Issachar and Asher, however, were given to Manasseh: Bethshan, Ibleam, Dor, that is Naphoth Dor, Endor, Tanakh, and Megiddo, each with their surrounding settlements. But the descendants of Manasseh were unable to occupy these towns because the Canaanites were determined to stay in that region. Later, however, when the Israelites became strong enough, they forced the Canaanites to work as slaves, but they did not drive them out of the land. The descendants of Joseph came to Joshua and asked, "Why have you given us only the portion of land as our homeland when the Lord has blessed us with so many people?" Joshua replied, "If there are so many of you, and if the hill country of Ephraim is not large enough for you, clear out land for yourselves in the forest where the Perizzites and Rephaites live." The descendants of Joseph responded, "It's true that the hill country is not large enough for us, but all the Canaanites in the lowlands have iron chariots, both those in Bethshan and its surrounding settlements, and those in the valley of Jezreel. They are too strong for us." Then Joseph said to the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh, the descendants of Joseph, "Since you are so large and strong, you will be given more than one portion. The forests of the hill country will be yours as well. Clear as much of the land as you wish and take possession of its farthest corners, and you will drive out the Canaanites from the valleys too, even though they are strong and have iron chariots."
Now that the land was under Israelite control, the entire community of Israel gathered at Shiloh and set up the tabernacle. But there remained 7 tribes who had not been allotted their grants of land. Then Joshua asked them, "How long are you going to wait before taking possession of the remaining land the Lord, the God of your ancestors has given to you? Select 3 men from each tribe, and I'll send them out to explore the land and map it out. They will return to me with a written report of the proposed divisions of their new homeland. Let them divide the land into 7 sections, excluding Judah's territory in the south and Joseph's territory in the north. And then you record the 7 divisions of the land and bring them to me. I will cast sacred lots in the presence of the Lord our God to assign land to each tribe. The Levites, however, will not receive any allotment of land. Their role as priests of the Lord is their allotment. And the tribes of Gad, Reuben, and half the tribe of Manasseh won't receive any more land, for they have already received their grant of land, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave them on the east side of the Jordan River. As the men started on their way to map out the land, Joshua commanded them, "Go and explore the land and write a description of it. Then return to me, and I will assign the land to the tribes by casting sacred lots here in the presence of the Lord at Shiloh." The men did as they were told and mapped out the entire territory into 7 sections, listing the towns in each section. They made a written record, then returned to Joshua in the camp at Shiloh. And there at Shiloh, Joshua cast sacred lots in the presence of the Lord to determine which tribe should have each section. The first allotment of the land went to the clans of the tribe of Benjamin. It lay between the territory assigned to the tribes of Judah and Joseph. The northern boundary of Benjamin's land began at the Jordan River and went north of the slope of Jericho, and then west through the hill country and the wilderness of Beth-aven. From there, the boundary went south to Luz, that is Bethel, and proceeded down to Ataroth Adar on the hill that lies south of the lower Beth Horon. The boundary then made a turn and swung south along the western edge of the hill, facing Beth Horon, ending at the village of Kirith-baal, that is Kirith Jearim, a town belonging to the tribe of Judah. That was the western boundary. This southern boundary began at the outskirts of the Kirith Jearim. From that western point, it ran to the spring at the waters of Nephtoah and down the base of the mountain beside the valley of Ben Hinnom. At the northern end of the valley of Rephaim, from there it went down to the valley of Hinnom, crossing the south of the slope where the Jebusites lived, and continued down to En-Rogel. From En-Rogel, the boundary proceeded in a northerly direction and came to En-Shemesh and on to the Geliath, which is across from the slopes of Adamim. Then it went down to the stone of Boan. Boan was Reuben's son. From there it passed along the north side of the slope, overlooking the Jordan Valley. The border then went down into the valley and ran past the north slope of the Beth Hogla and ended at the north bay of the Dead Sea, which is the southern end of the Jordan River. This was the southern boundary. The eastern boundary was the Jordan River. These were the boundaries of the homeland allocated to the clans of the tribe of Benjamin. These were the towns given to the clans of the tribe of Benjamin: Jericho, Beth Hogla, Emekazis, Beth Araba, Zemarim, Bethel, Avim, Para, Ophrah, Kepharamoni, Ophni, and Geba. 12 towns with their surrounding villages. Also Gibeon, Ramah, Beroth, Mizpah, Kephirah, Mosa, Rekem, Irpil, Tarla, Zela, Helif, the Jews of the Jebusite town, that is Jerusalem, Gibeah and the Kiriath Jearim, 14 towns with their surrounding villages. This was the homeland allocated to the clans of the tribe of Benjamin. Oh, Lord. Good luck.
Chapter 19. The land given to the second allotment of land went to the clans of the tribe of Simeon. Their homeland was surrounded by Judah's territory. Simeon's homeland included Beersheba, Sheba, Moladah, Hazar Shual, Balal, Azim, El-Tolad, Bethul, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth Marakaboth, Hazar Susa, Beth Laboath, and Sharahuan, 13 towns with their surrounding villages. It also included Ain, Rimmon, Ether, and Ashan, 4 towns with their villages, including all the surrounding villages as far south as Balath Beer, also known as Ramah the Negev. This was the homeland allocated to the clans of the tribe of Simeon. Their allocation of land came from part of what had been given to Judah because Judah's territory was too large for them. So the tribe of Simeon received an allocation within the territory of Judah. The third allotment of land went to the clans of the tribe of Zebulun. The boundary of Zebulun's homeland started at Sarid. From there it went going past Maralah, touching the Besheth, and proceeding to the brook east of Jokneam. In the other direction, the boundary went east from Sarid to the border of Kisloth Tabor, and from there to Dabernath and up to Japhia. Then it continued east to Gath-Hefer, Eth-Kazin, and Rimmon, and turned toward Neah. The northern boundary of Zebulun passed Hanathon and ended at the valley of Ipta-El. The towns in these areas included Katath, Nahalal, Shimron, Adalal, and Bethlehem, 12 towns with their surrounding villages. The homeland allocated to the clans of the tribe of Zebulun included these towns and their surrounding villages. The fourth allotment of land went to the clans of the tribe of Issachar. Its boundaries included the following towns: Jezreel, Kesaloth, Shunem, Hapharaim, Shion, Anaharath, Rabith, Kishion, Abez, Rameth, En-Ganim, En-Hadad, and Beth-Pazez. The boundary also touched Tabor, Shahazuma, and Beth-Shemesh, ending at the Jordan River, 16 towns with their surrounding villages. The homeland allocated to the clans of the tribe of Issachar included these towns and their surrounding villages. The fifth allotment of land went to the clans of the tribe of Asher. Its boundaries included these towns: Helketh, Hali, Beten, Akshaph, Alamelech, Amad, and Mashal. The boundary on the west touched Carmel and Shehor Libnath. Then it turned east toward Beth Dagon and ran as far as Zebulun in the valley of Ifdal, going north to Beth-Emek and Neiel. It then continued north to Kabul, Abdon, Rahab, Haman, Kanah, and as far as Greater Sidon. Then the boundary turned toward Ramah and the fortress of Tyre, where it turned toward Hosa and came to the Mediterranean Sea. The territory also included Mehabel, Akzib, Umah, Afek, and Rehob, 22 towns with their surrounding villages. The homeland allocated to the clans of the tribe of Asher included these towns and their surrounding villages. The sixth allotment of land went to the clans of the tribe of Naphtali. Its boundaries ran from Haleph, from the oak at Zananim, and extended across the Adami Nekeb, Jemneel, and as far as Lakum, ending at the Jordan River. The western boundary ran past Aznath Tabor, then to Hukok, and touched the border of Zebulun in the south and the border of Asher on the west, and the Jordan River on the east. The fortified towns included in this territory were Ziddim, Zur, Hamath, Rekath, Kinnereth, Adamah, Ramah, Hazor, Kadesh, Edrei, and Hazor, Yaron, Migdal, Horem, Bethanath, and Beth-Shemesh, 19 towns with their surrounding villages. The homeland allocated to the clans of the tribe of Naphtali included these towns and their surrounding villages. The seventh allotment of land went to the clans of the tribe of Dan. The land allocated as their homeland included the following towns: Zorah, Eshtaol, Urshemesh, Shalabin, Aijalon, Iflal, Elan, Timnah, Ekron, Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Baalath, Jehud, Benebarak, Gathraim, Midrakan, Rakan, and the territory across from Joppa. But the tribe of Dan had trouble taking possession of their land, so they attacked the town of Laish. They captured it, slaughtered its people, and settled there. They renamed the town Dan after their ancestor. The homeland allocated to the clans of the tribe of Dan included these towns and surrounding villages. After all the land was divided among the tribes, the Israelites gave a piece of land to Joshua as his allocation. For the Lord had said he could have any town he wanted. He chose Timnath Serah in the hill country of Ephraim, He rebuilt the town and lived there. These are the territories that Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the tribal leaders all allocated as grants of land to the tribes of Israel by casting sacred lots in the presence of the Lord at the entrance of the tabernacle at Shiloh. So the division of land was completed.
Well, I don't know if I can beat that. All right, so we're going to just go with it, okay? All right, chapter 20. So the Lord said to Joshua, now tell the Israelites to okay, we're going to start over. So the Lord said to Joshua, now tell the Israelites to designate the cities of refuge as I instructed Moses. Anyone who kills another person accidentally and unintentionally, can run to one of the cities. They will be places of refuge for relatives seeking revenge for the person who was killed. Upon reaching one of these cities, the one who caused the death will appear before the elders at the city gate and present his case. They must allow him to enter the city and give him a place to live among them. If the relatives of the victim come to avenge the killing, the leaders must not release the slayer to them, for he killed the other person unintentionally and without previous hostility. But the slayer must stay in the city and be tried by the local assembly, which will render judgment, and he must continue to live in the city until the death of the high priest who was in office at the time of the accident. After that, he is free to return to his own home in the town from which he fled. The following cities were designated as cities of refuge: Kadesh of Galilee in the hill country of Naphtali, Shechem on the hill country of Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah. On the east side of the Jordan River, across from Jericho, the following cities were designated: Bezer in the wilderness plain of the tribe of Reuben, Ramoth in Gilead in the territory of the tribe of Gad, the Golan in Bashan, and the land of the tribe of Manasseh. These cities were set apart for all of the Israelites, as well as the foreigners living among them. Anyone who accidentally killed another person could take refuge in one of these cities. In this way, they could escape being killed in revenge prior to standing trial before the local assembly. Chapter 21. Then the leaders of the tribe of Levi came to console with Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the leaders of the other tribes of Israel. They came to them in Shiloh in the land of Canaan and said, the Lord commanded Moses to give us towns to live in and pasture lands for our livestock. So the command of the Lord, the people of Israel gave the Levites and the following towns and pasture lands out of their own grants of land. The descendants of Aaron, who were members of the Kohathite clan within the tribe of Levi, were allotted 13 towns, and that were originally assigned to the tribes of Judah. Simeon and Benjamin, the other families of the Kohath clan, were allotted 10 towns from the tribe of Ephraim, Dan, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. The clan of Gershon was allotted 13 towns from the tribes of Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and the half-tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. The clan of Moriah, was allotted 12 sons from the tribe of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. So the Israelites obeyed the Lord's command and Moses assigned these towns and pasture lands to the Levites by casting sacred lots. The Israelites gave the following towns from the tribes of Judah and Simeon to the descendants of Aaron, who were members of the Kohath clan within the tribe of Levi. Since the sacred lot fell to them first, Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah, along with the surrounding pasture lands. Arba was the ancestor of Anak, but the open fields beyond the town and the surrounding villages were given to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and his possessions. The following towns with their pasture lands were given to the descendants of Aaron and priests: Hebron, a city of refuge for those who accidentally killed someone; Libnah, Jattar, Eshtemoa, Holon Dibir, Ain, Judah, and Beth Shemesh, 9 towns from these 2 tribes. From the tribe of Benjamin, the priests were given the following towns with their pasture lands: Gibeon, Geba, Anath, and Almon, 4 towns. So in all, 13 towns with their pasture lands were given to the priests, descendants of Aaron. The rest of the Kohath clan from the tribe of Levi was allotted the following towns and pasture lands from the tribe of Ephraim: Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, a city of refuge for those who accidentally killed someone; Gezer, Kibzaim, and Beth Horon, 4 towns. The following towns and pasture lands were allotted to the priests from the tribe of Dan: Eltekah, Gibeathon, Aijalon, and Gath-Rimmon, 4 towns. The half-tribe of Manasseh allotted the following towns with their pasture lands and their priests: Tanakh and Gath-Rimmon, 2 towns. So in all, 10 towns with their pasture lands were given to the rest of Kohath clan. The descendants of Gershon, another clan within the tribe of Levi, received the following towns with their pasture lands from the half-tribe of Manasseh: Golan and Bashan, a city of refuge for those who accidentally killed someone again; and Beth Eshterah, 2 towns. From the tribe of Issachar, they received the following towns with their pasture lands: Kishion, Dabarath, Jermoth, in Ganim, 4 towns. From the tribe of Asher, they received the following towns with their pasture lands: Mashal, Abdon, Helkah, and Rehob, 4 towns. From the tribe of Naphtali, they received the following towns with their pasture lands: Kadesh in Galilee, a city of refuge; Hamath, Dor, and Kartan, 3 towns. So in all, 13 towns where their pasture lands were allotted to the clan of Gershon. The rest of the Levites and the Merari clan were given the following towns with their pasture lands from the tribe of Zebulun: Jokneam, Korath, Dimnah, and Nahalal, 4 towns. From the tribe of Reuben, they received the following towns with their pasture lands: Bezer, Jahaz, Kedemoth, Mephath, 4 towns. Great. From the tribe of Gad, they received the following towns with their pasture lands: Ramoth and Gilead, a city of refuge; Mahanaim, Hashbon, and Jazer, 4 towns. So in all, 12 towns were allotted to the clan of Merari. Total number of towns and pasture lands within the Israelite territory given to the Levites came to 48. Every one of those towns had pasture lands surrounding it. So the Lord gave to Israel all the land he had sworn to give them and their ancestors, and they took possession of it and settled there. And the Lord gave them rest on every side, just as he has solemnly promised their ancestors. None of their enemies could stand against them, for the Lord helped them conquer their enemies. Not a single one of all the good promises the Lord had given to the families of Israel was left unfulfilled. Hallelujah. Everything he had spoken came true. Amen.
Chapter 22. Then Joshua called together the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. He told them, "You have done as Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, and you have obeyed every order I have given you. During all this time, you have not deserted the other tribes. You have been careful to obey the commands of the Lord your God right up to the present day. And now the Lord your God has given the other tribes rest, as he promised them. So go back home to the land that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you as your possession on the east side of the Jordan River. But be very careful to obey all the commands and the instructions that Moses gave to you. Love the Lord your God, walk in all his ways, obey his commands, hold firmly to him, and serve him with all your heart and all your soul." So Joshua blessed them and sent them away, and they went home. Moses had given the land of Bashan, east of the Jordan River, to the half-tribe of Manasseh. The other half of the tribe was given land west of the Jordan. As Joshua sent them away and blessed them, he said to them, "Go back to your homes with the great wealth you have taken from your enemies, the vast herds of livestock, the silver, gold, bronze, and iron, and the large supply of clothing. Share the plunder with your relatives." So the men of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh left the rest of Israel at Shiloh in the land of Canaan. They started their journey back to their own land of Gilead, the territory that belonged to them according to the Lord's command through Moses. But while they were still in Canaan, and when they came to a place called Galiloth, near the Jordan River, the men of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh stopped to build a large and imposing altar. The rest of Israel heard that the people of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh had built an altar at Galiloth at the edge of the land of Canaan, on the west side of the Jordan River. So the whole community of Israel gathered at Shiloh and prepared to go to war against them. First, however, they sent a delegation led by Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest, to walk with the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. In this delegation were 10 leaders of Israel, and one from each of the 10 tribes, and each the head of his family within the clans of Israel. When they arrived in the land of Gilead, they said to the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, "The whole community of the Lord demands to know why you are betraying the God of Israel. How could you turn away from the Lord and build an altar for yourselves in rebellion against him? Was our sin at Purah not enough? To this day, we are not fully cleansed of it, even after the plague that struck the entire community of the Lord. And yet today you are turning away from following the Lord. If you rebel against the Lord today, he will be angry with all of us tomorrow. If you need the altar because the land you possess is defiled, then join us in the Lord's land, where the tabernacle of the Lord is situated, and share our land with us. But do not rebel against the Lord or against us by building an altar other than the one true altar of the Lord our God. Didn't divine anger fall on the entire community of Israel when Achan, a member of the clan of Zerah, sinned by stealing the things set apart for the Lord? He was not the only one who died because of his sin. Then the people of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh answered, the heads of the clans of Israel, "The Lord, the Mighty One, is God. The Lord, the Mighty One, is God. He knows the truth, and may Israel know it too. We have not built the altar in treacherous rebellion against the Lord. If we have done so, do not spare our lives this day. If we have built an altar for ourselves to turn away from the Lord, or to offer burnt offerings, or grain offerings, or peace offerings, may the Lord himself punish us. The truth is, we have built this altar because we fear that in the future your descendants will say to ours, 'What right do you have to worship the Lord, the God of Israel?' The Lord has placed the Jordan River as a barrier between our people, and you have people of Reuben and Gad, you have no claim to the Lord. So your descendants may prevent our descendants from worshiping the Lord. So we decided to build the altar not for burnt offerings or sacrifices, but as a memorial. It will remind our descendants and your descendants that we too have the right to worship the Lord at his sanctuary with our burnt offerings, sacrifices, and peace offerings. Then your descendants will not be able to say to ours, 'You have no claim to the Lord.' If they say this, our descendants can reply, 'Look at this copy of the Lord's altar that our ancestors made. It is not for burnt offerings or sacrifices. It is a reminder of the relationship both of us have with the Lord. Far be it from us to rebel against the Lord or turn away from him by building our own altar for burnt offerings, grain offerings, or sacrifices. Only the altar of the Lord our God that stands in front of the tabernacle may be used for that purpose." When Phinehas, the priest, and the leaders of the community, the heads of the clans of Israel, heard this from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, they were satisfied. Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest, replied to them, "Today we know the Lord is among us because you have not committed this treachery against the Lord, as we thought. Instead, you have rescued Israel from being destroyed by the hand of the Lord." Then Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest, and the other leaders left the tribes of Reuben and Gad and Gilead and returned to the land of Canaan to tell the Israelites what had happened. And all the Israelites were satisfied and praised God and spoke no more of war against Reuben and Gad. The people of Reuben and Gad named the altar Witness, for they said, "It is a witness between us and them that the Lord is our God too."
The years passed, and the Lord had given the people of Israel rest from all their enemies. Joshua, who is now very old, called together all the elders, leaders, judges, and officials of Israel. He said to them, "I am now a very old man. You have seen everything the Lord your God has done for you during my lifetime. The Lord your God has fought for you against your enemies. I have allotted to you as your homeland all the land of the nations yet unconquered, as well as the land of those we have already conquered. From the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea in the west, this land will be yours, for the Lord your God will himself drive out all the people living there now. You will take possession of their land just as the Lord your God promised you. So be very careful to follow everything Moses wrote in the book of instruction. Do not deviate from it, turning either to the right or to the left. Make sure you do not associate with the other people still remaining in the land. Do not even mention the name of their gods, much less swear by them or serve them or worship them. Rather, cling tightly to the Lord your God, as you have done until now. For the Lord has driven out the great and powerful nations for you, and no one has yet been able to defeat you. Each one of you will put to flight 1,000 of the enemy, for the Lord your God fights for you, just as he has promised. So be very careful to love the Lord your God. But if you turn away from him and cling to the customs of the survivors of these nations remaining among you, and if you intermarry with them, then know for certain that the Lord your God will no longer drive them out of your land. Instead, they will be a snare and a trap to you, a whip on for your backs, and thorny brambles in your eyes. And you will vanquish from this good land the Lord your God has given you. Soon I will die, going the way of everyone on earth. Deep in your hearts, you know that every promise of the Lord your God has come true. Not a single one has failed. But as surely as the Lord your God has promised you the good things he promised, he will also bring disaster on you if you disobey him. He will completely destroy you from this good land he has given you. If you break the covenant of the Lord your God by worshiping and serving other gods, his anger will burn against you, and you will quickly vanish from the good land he has given you.
She said she had the easy one. Then Joshua summoned all the tribes of Israel to Shechem, including their elders, leaders, judges, and officers. So they came and presented themselves to God. Joshua said to the people, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Long ago your ancestors, including Terah, the father of Abraham and Nahor, lived beyond the Euphrates River, and they worshipped other gods. But I took your ancestor Abraham from the land beyond the Euphrates and led him into the land of Canaan. I gave him many descendants through his son Isaac. To Isaac I gave Jacob and Esau. To Esau I gave the mountains of Seir, while Jacob and his children went down into Egypt. Then I sent Moses and Aaron, and I brought terrible plagues on Egypt, and afterward I brought you out as a free people. But when your ancestors arrived at the Red Sea, the Egyptians chased after you with chariots and charioteers. When your ancestors cried out to the Lord, I put darkness between you and the Egyptians. I brought the sea crashing down on the Egyptians, drowning them. With your very own eyes you saw what I did. Then you lived in the wilderness for many years. Finally, I brought you into the land of the Amorites on the east side of the Jordan. They fought against you, but I destroyed them before you. I gave you victory over them, and you took possession of their land. Then Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, started a war against Israel. He summoned Balaam, son of Beor, to curse you, but I would not listen to him. Instead, I made Balaam bless you, and so I rescued you from Balak. When you crossed the Jordan River and came to Jericho, the men of Jericho fought against you, as did the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. But I gave you victory over them, and I sent terror ahead of you to drive out the two kings of the Amorites. It was not your swords or bows that brought you victory. I gave you land you had not worked on. I gave you towns you did not build. The towns where you are now living, I gave you vineyards and olive groves and food, though you did not plant them. So fear the Lord and serve him wholeheartedly. Put away forever the idols your ancestors worshipped when they lived beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt. Serve the Lord alone. But if you refuse to serve the Lord, then choose today whom you will serve. Would you prefer the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates? Or will it be the gods of the Amorites in whose land you now live? But as for me and my family, we will serve the Lord. The people replied, we would never abandon the Lord and serve other gods. For the Lord our God is the one who rescued us and our ancestors from slavery in the land of Egypt. He performed mighty miracles before our very eyes. As we traveled through the wilderness,